who do you think was probably the most impressive? Maybe not necessarily physically, but they just had it. Like because obviously when Manny came up, like everybody knew, hey, like this kid is super talented. When Jeter came up, probably maybe not as prominent as Manny was, but who did you see?
Jeter made 60 errors in A-ball. I mean, I remember talking to the manager I knew real well. I took him to the big leagues with me. I go, hey, what's going on with this kid? I think it was 60. It was a lot. And I was like, holy shit, what do we got here? He goes, he's going to be fine. I go, what do you mean he's going to be fine? He said he's got this thing with his footwork where he drops steps and he does something with his feet because he had a little more time in high school. And so Brian took him down to the instructional league and they worked on it every day. And every once in a while, Jeter would look over at me during, the first base ball, and he would look over and he'd go, and he would do his little drop step like he used to do. And this was when he was 37 years old.
Yeah.
Just fucking around with me. And, but he was another guy. We never talked. I would go, hey, Derek, what's up? But I remember I told him and Posada, we took them with us in the playoffs in 95.
Okay.
But they weren't active.
Okay.
And I just wanted them to experience the playoffs and what that felt like. But I remember I called them in and I said, hey, here's the deal. We're going to keep you here and you're going to travel with us and be a part of this. But if I find out you're running the streets and you're messing around, I said, you're going to be down in the instructional league and the next day. Derek told me later, he said, we didn't leave the hotel room for a whole week or two. He said, we were so afraid somebody was going to tell you we were out running the streets.
That is hilarious. So that's another moment too that I think, we talked about like being on, like we talked with David Murphy about being the guy who made the last out or whatever, but that 95 team, you guys are in Seattle and you're on the opposite side of the moment that essentially saved baseball.
See, I'm glad you picked that
Seattle.
up because that's the one thing that made me take that was I had more fans say that, we were fighting the persona with the strike and everything the whole year. And we had a defending team's mentality because we had the best record in the American League
in 94. Yeah.
And we had a defending champions mentality with nothing to show for. So we had a lot of guys hurt and we were getting it going on, 94 when they pulled the plug on us. I remember like yesterday where I was when Sealy came on. But when people come up to me and say, I was getting ready to leave baseball, but that 95 series brought me back. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever been asked that. And that makes me be able to take that series a little bit. I just hope, I wouldn't wish on anybody getting on a plane and flying back from Seattle, landing in New York at 8:00 in the morning after Mattingly's just told you he's retiring and, and all the emotions
uncertainty
of
your job potentially too.
Well, Steinbrenner comes in afterwards and, I wait, I get through with the meet, I get there, everything. I just close my door and put my head on my desk. I'm almost sobbing,
Yeah.
And I'm 36, 37, whatever. And I'm 38 and I don't know whether I'm, coming back or whatever. I knew how it worked there. The fans knew I was there for 19 years. I knew the job description.
Yeah.
I never bought a house in New Jersey or New York. I rented, man.
Yeah.
Because I never knew when it was going to happen, but I was at peace with it because I knew he came back and tried to get me to come back, but that's a story for another day.